And he he freaks out like, oh no, they know something's wrong, and they know it's my fault and it's coming. Hey guys, did you know your attachment style reveals more about you than just about anything else does? Your attachment style dictates the quality of your life and how you're gonna show up and act in relationships. It's your attachment style. But most people have no idea what their attachment style is. Today I'm gonna show you how to make it pretty easy to break down what your attachment style most likely is, and frankly, what it means for you and your relationship. So let's dive right in. What are the attachment styles? Well, there's 4 options to choose from, and you don't actually choose. They're kind of chosen for you early in life. There's a secure attachment style, the anxious attachment style, the avoidant attachment style, and number 4, they've changed the name, the disorganized style, which is also now called the anxious avoidant attachment style. I'm going to talk about that and why the name has changed here in just a moment. But let's connect really quick. Secure attachment. Let's jump in and show you what that looks like right up front so that you can differentiate yours from this one if you have something else. Secure attachment style is defined by the belief that people will cooperate with you in good faith. Let's say you walk into a circumstance that's stressful. It's tense. Something has to happen. There has to be a confrontation. You have to give somebody bad news. Something doesn't go your way. Something feels like it might be your fault, but maybe not, and things are just going sideways. A secure attachment person will walk in and say, well, we just need to be frank. We just need to be honest. Let's look at the facts and let's deal with them. And if decisions need to be made, we will all work together on that decision. We will simply cooperate and we'll come to a conclusion and we will figure out what to do about it then. That's a secure attachment style. And everybody else in the room will say, well, yeah, of course, we're just going to cooperate. Yes, it could potentially be tense. Yes, there might be feelings involved, but you know what? We need to get through this conversation. It needs to happen. We need to deal with it and move forward. So let's deal with reality and let's move through it. And we will move through it together in good faith and calm and collectedness and truth, and just lay everything on the table and deal with it. That is a secure attachment. That's what that looks like. In a relationship, it's, you know what? This mistake was made, but it's okay. Let's work on this together as a team. Here's what I'd rather would happen. Let's hear your side of the story. They pause and they actually ask for your side of the story. Okay, that's interesting. Well, here's what I think we can do to move forward through this, and here's how we can navigate this. Okay, and we all agree on it, and we move through it. This sounds like a fairy tale, by the way. For most people who don't have secure attachment, this sounds like, no, this just doesn't happen. This is like a sitcom, right? You're yanking my chain. If you're having that reaction, you probably don't have secure attachment, and or you weren't raised around people who have good secure attachment. It probably sounds crazy and wild and like I'm lying. This is secure attachment. If you have that, fantastic. That's great. I love that. If you don't, that's okay. Let's talk about what that means. Let's dive into insecure attachment because it breaks down into 3 types. Remember? Anxious style. What is anxious style first? Well, when something does not feel right, the anxious style starts to believe it's their fault. In fact, even when things are great, the anxious person says, well, there's something wrong with me on the inside that other people can see, but I don't know what it is. So something's going to go wrong. Something's going to go wrong. So I need to wake up every day worrying and think about what I can do to make people like me, because when things go sideways, they're not going to like me anymore. So how can I do useful things for people so that they'll be grateful? And how can I ingratiate myself to them so that I'm doing good things for them so that they won't abandon me when they find this bad thing about me? How can I make myself needed? This is codependency, by the way. How can I make myself needed so that nobody is going to leave me? Or what can I mean, it's just a matter of time until they figure out what's wrong with me and I'm going to fail. And then things start going a little bit sideways because they're fearful all the time, and things go sideways anyway. There's always confrontations and problems. It's my fault. They're going to figure out it's my fault. Oh man, everybody in the team's going to know it's my fault. They're going to realize it's you. You're a failure. And they're going to be angry at me. They're going to scream at me, and they're going to realize I'm garbage, and they'll abandon me. Then that person's performance starts to suffer, and they start pulling away from everybody else in anticipation of the pain that's about to happen. And everyone else goes, what's this guy doing? Like, why is he pulling away from everybody? And then everybody else starts reacting like, okay, he doesn't really care. He's just abandoning us. All right, well, I guess. So then they start kind of pulling away from him a little bit, like wondering what's going on or poking him and prodding him a little bit. And he freaks out like, oh no, they know something's wrong and they know it's my fault and it's coming. And the person starts freaking out, and lo and behold, a problem comes and he runs screaming from the building before they can even sabotage it, before they can blow up at him, which they're maybe not going to. Or it's this explosion. I've done all these things, but they're like, what are you? I've been feeling these things, and he finally freaks out, and everybody's like, what the heck is happening over here? That's anxious attachment style. It's the belief that you will be abandoned, and you destroy your own relationships by trying to avoid being abandoned. And really the problems are in I hate to say this, but they're in your head. You have created an unwinnable scenario where it's never going to be okay because you don't believe you're okay. You believe you're worthless. So there's never going to be a place where it's okay. The better it gets, the worse it gets in your head. And the worse it gets, the worse it gets in your head. So no matter what, you are on a downward spiral that is inevitable. That's anxious attachment style. If that resonates with you, you're not alone, and it's fixable. Fixable, 100%, by the way. Number 2, avoidant attachment style, where the belief is you walk into a problem or into a situation, say, no one in here is going to act in good faith. I'm the only one who's going to act in good faith, so I need to keep track of everybody else and make sure they're going to act in as good a faith as possible, or at least act in the right direction. So I'm going to push a couple of buttons in here. They don't maybe think this consciously, but I'm going to do this so that this person is happy. I'm going to do that so that person's happy. I'm going to manage everybody's moods around me so that they won't hurt me when things hit the fan. And when there's a problem, they'll be more or less amiable, and I'll be able to navigate the crisis myself by managing these people's moods and how they're going to balance. That's an avoidant person. Now, they might be fearful avoidant, or they hang back and say, I just don't even want to get involved. I'm going to be the guy in the back of the room not even speaking to anybody because I'm just barely involved here. Or it could be the narcissist in the middle of the room saying, all right, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to control this. And the person who's controlling everything and really pushing buttons and nice and mean in turn to push everybody's buttons and moods. That's more the avoidant style. They are fearful of being hurt. They're fearful of people getting too close and taking control of them. They're fearful of people acting upon them. The anxious style is also fearful of being acted upon, but they feel utterly helpless. So they simply lay there trying to make people happy as they act upon themselves to make other people happy. Look, I'm hurting myself for your sake. That's almost what it is. They act upon themselves. The avoidant person acts upon others to prevent being acted upon, or stays away from people to prevent being acted upon. That's the avoidant attachment style. And it can look very cold, very detached, very disinterested, very clinical and aloof. It can look controlling, narcissistic. There's good and bad versions of it. I don't want to say good and bad, but benign and malicious versions of it. Let's just say hurtful, the gaslighting that we all hear about. A lot of that is the avoidant attachment style, the hurtful end of the avoidant attachment style. Not all people with that. Then comes the disorganized style, also called anxious avoidant, right? We talked about that. It began by calling it disorganized because it's both. It's back and forth and back and forth. They are so anxious and believe that they are worthless and will be abandoned, but they also believe other people are the problem. So sometimes they get hurt until they become aggressive and attack other people, or push buttons on other people, or manipulate other people, or get leverage over other people, or anything. They become wildly chaotic of, I'm terrified, I'm going to be abandoned, but you can't abandon me because I'm abandoning you, and they get out. They run. Or it's the best and worst of the anxious and the avoidant at the same time. They are anxious until they're avoidant, and they may be fearful avoidant, or they may be narcissistic avoidant, but it's this constant tug of war and balance and chaos. And nobody is more conflicted and more confused than they are. They are more deeply affected by it than anybody else. And they usually hate themselves, to be honest, because they just can't figure out how to stop doing what they're doing. That's the disorganized style that they now call anxious avoidant because people don't understand what disorganized means. It means that back and forth blend of the two, not in an organized category. It's both. These are the 4 attachment styles. So I'm going to ask you real quick. Have you ever been acted upon? Well, you probably have. If you resonate with any of those 3 insecure attachment styles, your parents probably acted upon you, or your caregivers. People acted upon you to such a degree that you learned other people are going to act upon you. And that is where your attachment came from. You got so used to the way you were acted upon, that you developed these defense mechanisms for how you are going to act upon others, act upon yourself, stay back so you don't get acted upon. You develop this. So, if you would please, drop down in the comments. I'm going to have a pinned comment below with a question. Tell me about a time you were acted upon. Now, the reason I'm asking this is not to collect data. The reason I'm asking this is because I want everybody watching this video, after they watch this video, to be able to drop down to the bottom and see when other people were acted upon. And start seeing that it's not normal. It's not normal for people to act upon each other. That's not the healthy way to live. Acting with each other, go back to secure attachment. Go back to secure attachment. Now you've seen the way the other 3 people live. Go back to secure attachment. Wait for a minute there. Well, let's not act upon each other. Let's act with each other. Where's the facts? All right, let's lay the facts on the table. All right, that's what it is. We got to deal with that. Okay. Well, how are we going to deal with that together? Well, here's this. Can you do this differently? Well, I don't know if I can do that. Well, what would you need to be able to do that differently? Well, I would have to do this. Well, okay. Can we do that? Is that feasible? Are these things feasible? Can we do this together? Well, here's this. That's a secure attachment. Is very, I don't want to say business-like, but done in good faith. everybody is operating in good faith, and everybody believes everybody else is operating in good faith. Good faith carries the day. That's the point of secure attachment. That's why secure attachment tends to seek out secure attachment, because that's the way that they are best optimized. The other three attachment styles are protective defense mechanisms, maladapted behaviors from bad relationships that formed you. So tell me in the pinned comment, if you would, tell me about a time you were acted upon. It could be early in life, it could be more recently, but you will find that if it was early in life, it may have been formative for your belief that you can't connect to people. And if it was recently, it might be biasing you to believe that you really can't open up and connect to people, because this creates a self-perpetuating bias. The anxious person starts running away from relationships and sabotaging them until other people start rejecting them. Then they say, look, I'm being rejected. Well, yes, because you're making them reject you because they have no idea what's going on. The avoidant person runs and runs and runs and pushes buttons until people get tired of their button pushing. Then people snap back at them, and then the person says, oh, look, nobody cares about me. I'm on the outside. Nobody likes me anyway, because they are on the outside. They put themselves on the outside. And the disorganized person, back and forth, chaos, creates so much anger in other people that people react angrily to them. And the person says, look, everyone's just always mad at me, and it's not fair. And yes, maybe it's my fault, but it's not really my fault. And it creates this self-perpetuating bias. You get stuck in it. So please leave me a comment telling me when somebody acted upon you, really, and let everybody else see it. Not for your sake, but for everybody's sake, because we need to start this conversation about what is normal and what is not for acting upon each other. It's acting with each other. And yes, we are fearful. We are fearful. We're afraid of being acted upon. We're afraid of being hurt. That's reasonable because we have been hurt, but we've got to get through it. We have to navigate the fear. We have to learn to open up and connect. And yes, that means taking some risks where some people could act upon us. But we're going to have to get through those moments with good people that we can trust. And there's green and red flags to find that out. And if you want to learn about green and red flags in these relationships, check the link in the description below. You can sign up for my coaching. I will show you personally how to find green and red flags. If you have resonated with these attachment styles and you want to fix it, sign up. Sign up for a session and let's talk about what your roadmap has looked like and what the plan for your future should be. Because we can get you to a place where you don't have those attachment issues anymore. We can get you to a place where you have the secure style, where you walk in and say, okay, there's a problem. Ugh, let's deal with this problem. All right, here's the facts. I'm a little nervous, guys, but let's bear with me and I'll bear with you and we'll have good faith with each other, okay? Okay, all right, let's do this. And you can get through it. And that can be the rest of your life. If you've lived your whole life the other 3 ways, let's get that done. Click the link below, talk to me about coaching. Let's jump in and let's look at what that would look like to build that plan. Usually it's a few sessions and people have resolved tons of those problems and their life is significantly better with better relationships, less stress, better sleep at night, no more worrying, and they're able to talk about their problems instead of sabotaging their relationships. We can do that. So leave me a comment below and remind me about a time you were acted upon. Share that so other people see it. Hit the subscribe button. Watch some of the other videos on this channel if you would. I would love to talk to you in coaching and I'd show you how to fix these attachment problems. Thank you.